Alright, I decided to make a HASHIRIYA drift tutorial. I'll show you my settings here. First thing I do when I get a car, I switch it to hundreds because I end up forgetting and the car doesn't even handle or doesn't stop right. This is a stock 145 horsepower, 15-inch wheels, dropped 5.1 centimeters, negative 3.3 degrees camber, 5.5 centimeters wider in the front, and 1.7 bar for the front tire pressure. In the rears, the same thing, small tire size, 15s, dropped 6.4 centimeters, positive 0.2 degrees camber, and 2 centimeters wider, and then 0.7 bar for the rear tire pressures. And yeah, it's time to drift. I didn't mean to do this. I'll show you what my body mods. The only thing I changed on this car is the fenders. The front and the rear I changed to fender 3. The whole way around the car. I'll show you the whole way around the car, kind of how it looks like. This is just so the car looks right. This is pretty much what people would do to their actual Corollas whenever they're racing or drifting them. That's like an actual real life modification that you would do to a drift car. Like in the 90s and the early 2000s when people were running them cars. It was a pretty normal modification to put those exact fenders on the car. Let's see if I have any sound on here. You might not get any sound. Oh good, you got sound. You see, I immediately start throwing this thing. So I hold the throttle with my thumb, and I use my index finger to control the handbrake. And then whenever I have to handbrake, whenever I let off the throttle, I can handbrake with my thumb, and I keep my forefinger there, and then I can keep on tapping my thumb off the throttle onto the handbrake, or hold the throttle with the handbrake being tapped with my index finger. So I'll go back and forth between holding the throttle with my thumb and tapping the handbrake with my forefinger to letting off the throttle and tapping the handbrake with my thumb. I think that when I first started playing, they referred to this as the claw. And you see, I'm kind of getting it here. I kind of have to stay in first gear in this car because it is only 145 horsepower. This is a great way to start. While you're kind of watching me banging stuff around here, I want you to pay attention to my layout. Wall tapped it. I want you to pay attention to my layout here. This is on manual. I move my buttons around for my own comfort. I don't have a very big phone, but it's also not a small phone. It's an iPhone XR, I believe. And I did have to move my controls around on the screen a little bit. You see my downshift is up above my left arrow. And you see my steering inputs. Your steering input should actually be pretty minimal. Once the car's into drift, kind of like real life drifting, you're kind of holding onto that wheel, letting the car do what it wants, and then you make minimal inputs in order to get it thrown, and then you've got to do exactly that. You're holding the wheel, you're actually trying not to fight the drift until you have to do an input. The car will naturally go sideways when you set the car up, like I set this car up. This is kind of how they're setting cars up in pro drifting, and it makes it so the car with the proper amount of power, you wouldn't have to clutch kick a car with, like, let's say 500 horsepower, 400 horsepower, or even 1,000 horsepower like some cars have, but you would do the same exact thing with a pro car as far as your suspension geometry and stuff goes. This is just the baseline. You can always add power and then you see how close I got to that wall there. You can always add power and make things happen a little bit more. I'll probably do some scraping here. I got a tendency to make sparks fly. One other modification I did to this car, I took the exhaust off so that the exhaust isn't sticking out there hanging up on stuff, especially when you're in Shibuya. The last thing I want to say in this video as a comment about taking it through the tunnel is don't spend your gems. Save your gems. What you want to do with your gems is you want to save them because you're going to use those for motor swaps. You don't use your gems for anything but buying motors. If you want, there's a motor you can buy that'll produce 2,300 horsepower, and as a beginner, pretty much within your first, let's say like 10 hours of playing this game, you could buy 2 of those. But my most highly recommended motor is going to be the B58, highly achievable. It's 35 gems. And then the other motor that you can save up money here, and you see you're drifting and you're gaining points, and then you're collecting money because you're gaining points in your drifts. Here comes some sparks, I think. Yeah, there you go. I got some sparks flying for you. That motor is 38,000 coins, and after you start doing modifications to that motor, you can have a horsepower, 1,000 horsepower plus car. I'm about to round out this drift with some donuts here before somebody comes by and lags me out. They must have something really weird going on with their car here. Sometimes people have cars with funny colors or whatever. I think that those bright reds will lag you out. And that's my tutorial.